The other big story, Rishi Sunak is all set to take over as the Prime Minister of Britain today after being elected unopposed as the new leader of the Conservative Party. Rishi Sunak will be the first Indian origin Prime Minister of Britain and the country's first leader of colour. 42-year-old Sunak will be formally appointed as Prime Minister after Liz Truss submits her resignation to King Charles later today. After Truss's exit, Sunak, who will be the youngest British Prime Minister in 2 centuries, will travel to Buckingham Palace for his first audience with the King and will be invited to form the government. He will then travel to Downing Street and make a statement before entering number 10 as UK's 57th Prime Minister. But as Britain gets its first Indian origin Prime Minister, there are a host of challenges that await the new PM, right from steering a deeply divided country through an economic downturn to rising unemployment and a looming energy crisis. The multi-millionaire former finance minister will be expected to launch deep spending cuts in a bid to rebuild Britain's fiscal reputation as the country is on a brink of recession. Sunak, who is the son-in-law of Infosys co-founder Narayan Murthy, has called for unity and stability as he braces for what he calls a profound economic challenge.
I am humbled and honoured to have the support of my parliamentary colleagues and to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to. The United Kingdom is a great country, but there is no doubt we face a profound economic challenge. We now need stability and unity, and I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together, because that is the only way we will overcome the challenges we face and build a better, more prosperous future for our children and our grandchildren.
So to discuss the challenges ahead for Rishi Sunak and what does his ascent mean for India-UK ties, we are joined this afternoon by Suresh Kumar Goel, former ambassador, and Dr. Yukteswar Kumar, ex-deputy mayor of Bath. He's joining us from London. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for speaking to Mirror Now this afternoon. Ambassador Goel, to you first. It is a historic moment, first PM of colour, first Indian origin PM of the UK. Even US President has called it pretty astounding and a groundbreaking milestone. Talk to us through the historicity of this moment, the fact that there'll be now an Indian origin Prime Minister at the 10 Downing Street.
Well, yes, indeed a very historic moment, because I think this is the first time that in the UK there is a Prime Minister of an ethnic origin, colored person. I will not talk about whether Indian origin or what, because there is already a debate in the media as to where he came from. There are stories that he came from Gujranwala, etc., but that is immaterial really. That's a minor thing, but it's really a great pleasure and privilege to see a person of color, Indian origin, heading the government there in the UK now. At the same time, maybe for UK, this is the first time, and that demonstrates the kind of liberal politics that is now coming to occupy the space in that country. But again, in the USA, you have had the beginning of the transformation when President Obama came to hold the reins. First time you had a colored person holding the highest office in the country and the most powerful office in the world, really. So indeed, great historic moment, which I think should really tell the world where the politics in the world would be going, and the matter of happiness for the Indians. I would want to say one thing here really, though, very briefly,
Yes.
that we in India have the habit of thinking that if he's a person of Indian origin, he is an Indian. He is an English person of Indian origin, and he will be a British Prime Minister. He will be a Prime Minister of UK. And therefore, we will have to basically watch his policies from that point of view, rather than a person of Indian origin. Rohit.
Yes. Yes, so we'll talk about his policies in just a bit. But Dr. Yukteswar Kumar, these celebrations, I don't think is going to last long, because Sunak, in his first remarks, he said that we face a profound economic challenge. We now need stability and unity. And he goes on to say that I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together. That is easier said than done. Those challenges are enormous.
Yes, challenges are enormous, but thankfully, very, very thankfully, the country is in the safest pair of hands, if I may say now. Rishi is not an ordinary person. His faith gives him challenges. His faith gives him strength. He is a person committed to take our country, now the United Kingdom, to a very, very safe place. He said, either unite or die. Either unite or die. So the Conservative Party members are all rallying behind him. And as I said, his faith gives him strength. He is going to take oath on Bhagavad Gita. Britain had seen a prime minister of other faith. Jews, Benjamin, there were a prime minister who was prime minister for 2 days in 18th century from my city. But Rishi is a different person. He is going to take oath on Bhagavad Gita, and this will be the first time that a British PM will take oath at 11:30 British time, about 3 o'clock Indian time, after 2 hours in the House of Commons. And Gita tells you that karmanye vadhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana. I have met him multiple times. I recently met him 2 months ago in Bristol, just 30 minutes away from here. As Lord Popat, the peer of House of Lords, said that Britain needs Asian values. Britain needs Indian values to save the economy. And Rishi knows. You know him. He went to one of the best schools in the country. He went to Oxford. He went to Stanford. He has decades of experience in being hedge market, in financial market. And as you know, he was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, which is like the finance minister of a country. So he knows the challenges, and we are all behind him, and he will take the country to a much higher place where it is. Yes, Rohit.
All right. Ambassador Goyal, let's talk a little more about the economy. The UK economy has contracted 0.3% in August. Costs for households and businesses are increasing. And experts believe that UK will go into recession. In fact, Bank of England already fears that the economy is already in recession. That's what the fears are. Is there a way out? Because Mr. Sunak doesn't have a magic wand to effect a sudden turnaround.
There are 2 problems here, really. One is the economic problems, which may be very difficult to resolve, despite all the best policies, because just now my co-panelist quoted from Gita, Ma Phaleshu Kadachana. So even if he tries, he may have no control over the outcome. So he will live with it. Now, the problem with the economic issues really is that granted all the capabilities that Rishi Sunak has, the problems of economy are not purely internal to UK. They are related to several external factors. Energy crisis is one of them, which has been created by the Ukraine war. Subsidies are, or sorry, not the subsidies, but the revenue, the government revenue taxes is another one, which can be redressed to some extent. Unemployment in the country and the falling incomes is another one. Price inflation is another one. So while Rishi Sunak will try for all the problems, I think the issue really will be whether the party will have total faith in him from a political point of view, that he is doing his level best. The problem will be if it is a reaction, something like Liz Truss faced, when mistakenly or whichever way, she started with the policy that she had actually enunciated before she became the prime minister. And she removed the 45% bracket. She remove the cap on the corporate tax. So all those things she did with an, I suppose, a sincere belief that this will actually redress the economic problems of the country. It didn't happen, and she lost the faith of the party. Rishi Sunak will need to be given an opportunity. He will need to be given the total faith and confidence by the party that what he is
Yes.
doing is for the best. I hope he has that political trust of the party people. I'm saying that again basically because in the last elections, he lost out in the last round because party people seem to have more
Yes.
faith in Liz Truss as compared to Rishi Sunak. Now they have reposed trust in him. They must maintain the trust
Yes.
and confidence. Rohit.
All right. Dr. Yukteswar Kumar, what does Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister mean for India and the India-UK ties? There is a sizable Indian community there in the UK. A number of Indian students study in universities there. So what does this mean for India? Because, there is a concern that when it would come to choosing between domestic interests and India's interests, his choice would likely be the domestic constituency.
Well, I'm not only a councillor or former deputy mayor, I'm also a very senior academic at the University of Bath, where thousands of students from Indian origin study. We know the Indian diaspora here. I have been associated with hundreds and hundreds of students, both from India and China. But what is very, very important here, one thing to tell you, that as soon as it was reported that Rishi will become the next Prime Minister of the UK, the FTSE went by 50 points yesterday. Now, India-UK relations are very, very important. You need to understand that both are democratic countries. It is not like Pakistan or China, where in Pakistan, a non-Muslim can never become a prime minister or president of the country, or in China, which is an autocratic nation where these kind of opportunities are not there for immigrants. Now, India-UK relations, the trade between two sides is almost 20 billion US dollars. Rishi knows it that we need to improve. In fact, India exports more to the UK than UK exports. India exports about 10 billion US dollars. UK exports about 7.89 billion maximum. These are the statistics of last year. Now, because he understands the values. The important thing to understand is it is the faith, it is the value, it is the Indian tigerness. He is the tiger of Asian origin, of Indian origin, who knows how to roll, how to tackle with the problems. And that's why he lost 2 months ago, because he did not, unlike the former prime minister, give a false promise to the residents, to the voters, to the party workers. He could have said, oh, I will solve the problem. He understands there is a problem. He not only understands the problem, but because of his expertise, because of his experience, he knows how to tackle this problem. You say about an economic problem, yes, not only the UK, but the whole Europe. The whole West is facing huge problem. Go and see the economy of Germany, see the economy of Italy, see the economy of Spain and other G7, G8 countries. They are in much more trouble, and
Yes.
there will be more trouble for them. So, Rishi is going
Yes.
to be safe here in the coming times. Thank you.
All right, Ambassador Goel, Labour has repeated calls for general election, and that has been echoed by the Scottish National Party, the Liberal Democrats and others. Now, Sunak has ruled out an early election and warned that his party, as Mr. Kumar was saying, that he has told his party, unite or die. So how much of this pressure from the Labour is likely to weigh him down when he goes about implementing his policies?
I think quite a bit of pressure, really. But again, as he said that to the party people that I unite or die, I think the Conservative Party also realizes that unless they work behind Rishi Sunak, they are going to face enormous challenges, because according to certain surveys, if the elections were to be held in the UK, it is the Labour which actually might come back to the government. Therefore, conservatives are also going to support Rishi Sunak in his efforts to make sure that those elections are not held immediately. So I'm quite sure that Rishi Sunak, in that sense, will have the support of his party. Rohit.
Yes. Mr. Goel, I want to ask you also, what do you think about the India-UK ties under Rishi Sunak? Very quickly, before I take a final word from Dr. Kumar.
I think Rishi Sunak, being related to India as it is, married into one of the top business families in India, and top business families also in technical IT sector. I think he will have a far greater sense of how to improve the economic ties between India and the UK. He will have a greater sensitivity to what is of our interest, what concerns us, and what actually creates problem for us. So I'm sure that whatever decisions he's taking in relation to India, he will keep that in mind. It may not be always possible for him to do as India needs, or what India wants, or what the government in India wants. But I'm sure that he will keep all those factors in mind before he takes a decision. And that would be a great, great help to building the relations between the two countries.
All right, Dr. Yukteswar Kumar, final word to you. You know, some of the Labour leaders are saying that Rishi Sunak will be a super rich prime minister governing for the super rich. Do you share those concerns?
Not at all. He is super rich, but he is super rich with his talent. It is meritocracy. Rishi becomes the prime minister and one of the youngest prime ministers in the history of the UK, not because of his wealth, not because of his wealth which he has made, or his father-in-law has made, or his wife has made. He is the prime minister because of his talents. Nobody is getting elected in 2015, just 7 years ago, and rises to become the minister of local government and then becomes the chancellor of the country. You know, he was the minister of the local government. I am part of the local government here, and I read his reports, how carefully he writes, how carefully he talks. As I said, I met him on a number of occasions, and the way he talks with us as if he is not rich at all. He is, his parents came with 10 pounds. Remember, his grandparents came here like us, like me. We are not from rich country, but we worked hard, and these countries gives us opportunity, and they recognize the talent. And that's why Rishi Sunak is where he should be, where an Indian tiger should be, and that's why he is there.
All right, Dr. Yukteswar Kumar and Ambassador Goel, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon, sharing your perspective on this rather historic moment when Rishi Sunak will be entering 10 Downing Street later today. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you. Bye.